Good morning, everybody. Cheers. That was just aspirin, amino acids, B vitamins, all that good stuff. Everything the body needs, except for food. So I got me some whole wheat bagels with low-fat cream cheese and fried plantains with Himalayan rock salt. Well, good morning to everybody. Unfortunately, I had a not so good night of sleep. My insomnia got the best of me again, unfortunately. But I had to get up early this morning anyway because I got to take one of my neighbors to the doctor today. I think like around 7:30, and right now it's 5:15 my time. So I figure why waste the energy? I might as well just put it to good use. I'm getting very spoiled to these type of breakfast foods because even this morning I weighed myself. I was 189 pounds. I'm 6'1". I'm still maintaining that weight, man. Maintaining that weight loss because I'm eating a lot healthier, sugar-free Red Bulls. Good morning. Am I saying this correctly? Heroin? Good morning, good morning. Hawaiian? Oh, okay. Hawaiian babe. Well, good morning, Hawaiian babe. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have much of a good night's sleep. And again, it's 5:15 my time here on the East Coast. And I got to take one of my senior citizen neighbors to the doctor in about 2 hours. I figure let me just make myself a little more productive this morning. So, by the way, if any of you are new to the channel, oh, you're in North Carolina too? Oh, that's awesome. I'm in South Charlotte in Pineville. So, if any of you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, hit the bell to receive notifications. Obviously, if you want to chat. Check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box below. And if you want to make a donation to the channel, click on my coffee link. Thank you so much to those that have already. Much appreciated. I actually do have 2 eBay orders I need to fulfill. I just had sweet potato, eggs, and tomatoes. Nice. I like to have eggs once in a while. I like to mix it up sometimes. It gets boring to have the same stuff. Awesome. Thank you for the support. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yeah, my live streams as of late are more for me to like blow off steam. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with a lot of drama off camera. I got cheated on again recently, and I did 2 live streams talking about it. I'm trying to get over it. It's happened a couple times to me this year where I got cheated on. But, when I'm having a good day and I'm making good content, I review Transformers toys, jerseys, hats, sneakers, baseball cards. I talk about sports once in a while, that kind of stuff. That's what the channel is supposed to be about. Now, I'm not native to North Carolina. Actually, I was born and bred in New York City and moved down here 10 years ago. And I promise you I'm a nice guy. Most New Yorkers, when they come down here, they already have a sour reputation. I happen to not be one of them. Yeah, I lost my New. I still have little hints of it. I can hear myself, but listening to the way people talk here, and especially my father who died last year, um, he was from Pennsylvania. My mother was born in New York. My brother and my sister have a heavy New York accent. My mother has a heavy New York accent. I lost my accent. I mean, I still have little bits and pieces of it. People tell me I sound like I come from South Jersey, something like that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate all of that. Much appreciated. But yeah, my accent has slowly been weaned away, and thank God too, because I don't want to talk like this over here, over there, derp, derp. Park my car by the water in the sky up there. You know, you sound like Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons after a while. I've been trying to re-enunciate and teach myself how to say words differently, but there are certain phrases and stuff like that I still use because it's kind of hardwired into my brain. But you can tell when I'm struggling to say certain words. I still slur some of my words sometimes because I'm fighting myself to enunciate them in the proper, not in the New York accent, unfortunately. So sometimes you'll hear me and do all that kind of thing. So I hate that accent. I really do. But I learned a culture down here. Unfortunately, over the years, you know, even myself, you know, I've been down here in Pineville for all this time. I had a small stint up by UNC Charlotte in North Charlotte by Highway 29 and Highway 49 going up into Cabarrus County up there by UNC. And let me tell you, it was a nightmare living there. I moved right back to this property. But yeah, I've done everything I can to distance myself from even behaving like a New Yorker. You know, I've never caught myself saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am ever in my entire life, even towards my own parents. I said that to my dad before he died on the phone. And he's like, where the fuck did you learn to say yes, sir? Never call me sir. I'm your dad. You call me pop or dad. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Yeah, right by UNC Charlotte off of W.T. Harris Boulevard, it's a complete disaster. I had to get out of there. It was a disaster. Oop. Like a heathen. Let me go get some paper towels. I mean, it was a lot of fun living up there because there were a lot of watering holes and stuff like that, especially if you went on Bretton Smith by the mall. But after that, it just it was awful. There were a lot of shootings up there, especially like on Highway 29, mostly on 29 and 49. I used to go to the Harrisburg Social Club up there, and that turned out to be not exactly the most civilized place on the planet. Oh, of course. You see a lot of that everywhere. We got some of that down here, too. You know, at least for me, the property where I'm on, it's off of Pineville Matthews Road or Highway 51. And it's tucked away. We have like our little own ecosphere in here, which is nice. It's very concealed. You wouldn't even know the property was here unless you lived here. It's otherwise quiet for the most part, but there's every so often the one nitwit that kind of ruins it for everybody, like what happened on the 4th of July. I'm really not going to get into it too much. But there's always one bad apple that spoils the bunch, as they say. But otherwise, I mean, everybody knows everybody here on the property. It's mostly quiet. A lot of kids living here now. You really don't see you really don't see too many problems. Last year for me was a disaster because I had an ex falsely arrest me for no reason at all. I had to get an acquittal letter from the attorney, and that happened when my father died. I stopped the guy from killing one of my neighbors downstairs. I mean, it was just a whole bunch of stuff was going on last year. Oh, man, that's good. But yeah, unfortunately, when you got people coming up here, yeah, I mean, things have settled down quite a bit. They're very, I'll give the people that run this property some credit because, they're very astute and I do cooperate with them. If I see funny business going on, I tend to let them know. Because obviously they don't want problems. I run my own business out of my home. That's why you see me calling myself the Carolina Collector. I have an eBay store and I'm an official LLC. I just renewed my business license recently and I don't need the headaches. I don't need somebody else bringing their bullshit and drama onto, my lap. So, with the exception of, a few friends and neighbors that I'm really close with, I mostly keep to myself these days anymore. I don't really bother going out of my way anymore. I don't go to bars. I don't go to pubs anymore. I stopped all that stuff. It's just not for me because people have completely lost their collective shit, unfortunately. So I don't waste my time with that stuff anymore. I sit here, I have a couple drinks with my neighbors. Once in a while we'll get together and have, a cookout or something like that. Very nice folks. The pool, unfortunately, is having mechanical issues, so it's been shut down for like the past week and a half, but, you make do. And I've really been enjoying my time at home sitting here anyways, because, I prefer the peace and quiet. I've noticed as I've got older, man, I just want peace and quiet. Exactly. Understandable. Why go out when I can hang out in my house where all my bills are paid for? I agree completely, 100%. My apartment is small, but it's got character. I got a nice patio outside that I could look down into the grass. We have a branch of McMullen Creek running right through the property here, so, it is. It's nice. I mean, there's still some riffraff here, but little by little they're kind of getting pushed out, which is good for the rest of us because I had enough drama last year. But unfortunately, I've had personal drama again this year. I recently, like I said, I got cheated on. I got cheated on now, what, 3 times? By 3 separate women. It's like, Jesus, man. I'm no Chad, I'm no Tyrone, I'm no Juanito. Listen, man, I am who I am. I take good care of myself. I run a small business out of my home, and I don't have the greatest car in the world, don't have the biggest muscles in the world, but, health-wise, I've been taking much more care of myself. I'm pushing 50 at this point, so, those days are over with, man. I'm trying to be like the Toys R Us kid, trying to stay as looking young and feeling young for as long as I possibly can, or as long as the good Lord, as long as the good Lord allows me to. Pardon me. But like I said, for the most part, everybody here is pretty cool. Everybody here is pretty cool. Everybody knows each other by first name around here, which is nice. Like I can walk up to just about anybody's or anybody's front door. Hey, sit down. Let's hang out. Oh, hey. But mostly people keep to themselves around here. Every so often these days, I've actually been having people coming back up to my patio again, which is good. My crew, all of my crew has moved away because, well, they want to get on with their lives. My boy that lived upstairs on the third floor here, he bought a house and moved out. I think he moved to South Carolina, closer to his family, which is good. I'm very happy for him. My boy John. Then my dude next door, my buddy Jeff, he moved in with his girlfriend last year. And then I found out that, you know, a guy I knew from day one that I moved here, this dude Esteban, moved to Costa Rica recently. That was shocking when I heard that. I actually had to go over to his apartment to see for myself, and the apartment's empty. So he flew the coop. You know, so it's just me and whatever friends and neighbors here I have left. And since you're here in North Carolina, you know the weather's been like really, really nasty. It's been really hot and humid. And, you know, we've been having random thunderstorms. Like we had one, last night? Or 2 nights ago, I should say. So you don't see the kids playing outside because it's too hot. And again, the pool's all screwed up because of whatever mechanical issues going on. They need to fix that sooner than later. So, you know, and I've been enjoying my peace and quiet here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to fill out these 2 eBay orders now. See if I can get these out. I just had it here. It's been way too hot lately. 112 is not for me. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. I mean, you know, here in Pineville, we had, 103 with the humidity or something like that in total? Nasty stuff. Nasty stuff. I can't handle that heat. I tried to sit outside with my neighbors on the other side of the property here like 2 days ago. And my one friend said, you know what, Mr. Walter, I think we're going to go inside because it's just way too hot. You know, and behind me, you see there at my printing station, that's one of 2 portable fans I got that's battery powered. And I even brought my own fan with me. And they got 2 fans out on their patio, and it was still too hot to sit outside. Because all we were doing is just breathing in nothing but hot air. You know, it's smothering. You know, especially with this property where I live, we're surrounded by a lot of trees and foliage. And it's very grassy here, so if you know anything about that type of agriculture, man, the humidity coming out of the ground alone is enough to stifle any plans that you may have. Except to go to the post office and the supermarket or Sam's Club or something like that, I just stay home. On a rare occasion, I might go to Empire Pizza around the corner here. Or on a more rare occasion, I'll go to the Arboretum heading towards Matthews County. Or I might go into Ballantyne or the Carolina Place Mall. After that, it's so nasty, I can't handle it. I can't do my yard work, but since it's going to cool off, and I'll be able to get yard work done. Yeah, I've been neglecting my patio too because it's just too hot. I actually screwed screws into this side of the patio where I sit, and then I screwed screws into the handrail there so I can mount my 2 fans in front of me and on top of me. But even that doesn't work. It just circulates the hot air even more, which is gross. So, and by the way, if you're eBay customers, I don't know if any of you are awake. Whoever ordered these 2 cards off of me, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. I currently have 3 auctions going right now, which is good. So those are guaranteed sales, which are fantastic for me. So ever since I did those promoted listings, man, I've been getting more traffic coming onto my eBay store lately. So that's a good thing, very good thing. That's an excellent thing. And I've been searching around for a lot of the accessories for a couple of my Transformers toys I'm going to sell on eBay that I need to clear out to make room for the new stuff that I got. I think the 2 Seekers I bought, Starscream and Skywarp, should be coming here either tomorrow or Thursday. I have to check the DHL itinerary. But I think they got transferred to the post office, which will probably, knowing our post offices down here, will be a clusterfuck. It might not even be here until Friday, that order. And I've got to see what my next video is going to be all about. Trying to get back on track, man. After all of that stuff happened with this Maria chick, which he did, and the fucking ugly monkey, another monkey. I showed the photo of this clown to one of my neighbors, like I did with my ex-girlfriend Jenny, and they all laugh. They laugh. It's like, what do these ugly guys? You know why? They're simps. They're simps. That's why. They're simps. They bow and cave. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to treat a woman badly, because I don't. But it's all about the money. The money, the money, the money. You know, it's like Maria, she never understood that I run a small business. I can't just keep throwing money away, traveling back and forth to North Charlotte to go pick her up, and then having to buy her special food and takeout all the time. I can't afford that shit. You know, I'm on a fixed income. I can't do that. You know, my spending money is, you know, money from my eBay store where I get stuff to review on the channel and stuff that I personally use. Everything else goes towards the bills and maybe a little bit of money for whatever, but fucking $80 worth of gas once a week to go drive back and forth 4 times. Go there, pick her up, drive her back. Go there, drop her off, drive myself back. Times 5 sometimes. You know, thank God for my Sam's Club membership. It's the cheapest gas here in Pineville. What is it? Like I think it's $3.29. And then she wanted me to go all the way out to Steel Creek, which is an awful, awful area here in Charlotte, to go get her special Ecuadorian food, just to drive all the way up there just to come back. It's like, fuck, man. And then I would cook steak for us, and it wasn't good enough for her. And then she would take my steak and recook it and turn it into something else. Talking about being insulting towards somebody, that you don't appreciate what people make for you. I don't think my cooking is shit. I mean, everybody has their own taste, but I'm like, come on, man. That's a little outrageous that you're literally picking up your plate and walking up to my oven and recooking it to your standards. I find that to be highly offensive and rude. And that's what she would do. And then I would have to buy special stuff, special seasonings, and all of it I threw away when I found out she cheated on me. All of it's gone. Every bit of it. The only echo that is left behind is the fact that I love plantains to begin with anyway, and I never showed it on camera when I was doing live streams or anything like that, or if I did YouTube shorts, but I always liked plantains anyway, so I'm used to eating them, except for rice and lentils, you know, and sardines and stuff like that, which I still have here. I got big cans of them things, you know, because I eat that stuff on a bed of rice. It's really good for you, the omega-3 fatty acids with sardines and tuna, and I love tuna also are good. That's the only echo that is left behind from her. I still have a fucking box of her stuff sitting here I need to throw in a dumpster. Fuck her. Excuse my language for cussing, but that's how I feel about it. Nitwit. Real nitwit. I bought her a brand new swimsuit for like $50. I gave it to one of my friends, one of my neighbors here. Maybe I should give her the pair of shoes that's sitting over here. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a shame because there's baby, you know, because she had a little boy, and the boy was cute. I fell in love with the kid, man. I really did. I really loved her son a lot. Fun little kid to play with. But when if you go back into my previous live stream, you'll see on the thumbnail what this guy looks like. He looks like a little ogre. He's an ogre. It's like my other ex-girlfriend, Jenny. You got to see what her man looks like. He looks like fucking Herman Munster. He literally looks like Herman Munster. Flesh-colored Herman Munster. Yeah, I mean, I got a parish right over here anyway, up the road. You know, I don't want to throw away baby diapers and baby bottles and stuff like that. You know, that's a sin. You know, I just don't have the heart to go through it because it's just going to get me angry. Even looking at it right now, I mean, if I were to point, yeah, see, that's it right there. This container right here, that's hers. That's what's left. Everything else I already threw out. So, I don't know which one was worse. Was it Jenny or was it this girl? You gotta look. You gotta see. Yeah, there is a women's shelter all the way up in uptown, but I'm not going there either because that's where the other nitwit is. Yeah, I'm fine. Listen. It's awful. It sucks. That's the way things have been for me, unfortunately. People using me, taking advantage of me. I got falsely arrested twice, or I've been acquitted twice because I got jumped at the pool over here not that long ago, and they were trying to, say I was, doing inappropriate things with the kids, and I had a gun on me, which I never did. And that got thrown out in the garbage, so I was acquitted. I got the letters there. I've showed all that stuff on camera already. I'm not going to do it again. And then last year, like I said, the one ex-girlfriend that I had, she falsely arrested me, or had me falsely arrested, accusing me all kinds of shit. And this is when my father died, and that was thrown out and tossed out without leave. I believe is a term where the judge didn't even bother to look at it because it was so ridiculous. There was nothing there. There was nothing in the police reports. And she got away with it. And I had to carry that on my shoulders when I went to my father's funeral. You have no idea. You have no idea. But you try to dust yourself off. I mean, I've been through all kinds of crazy shit over the past decade or two, and it's like you just keep going. You keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you don't stop. You just don't stop. You can't stop. You shouldn't stop. But there are people that are out there that are so vicious and so evil and so disgusting that this is what they do. This is who they are. This is what they are. This is the world we live in now, unfortunately. Let me go get me another Red Bull. I'll be right back. Right. I failed to mention I have a small refrigerator in my bedroom for when I have problems with my insomnia. I don't have to wander all over the apartment. So that's where I keep all my goodies. Yeah, it's been rough. It's really rough. I don't know how people just don't have a conscience these days. They really don't. They're very people are becoming, there's a sociopathy now, unfortunately, that is just persistent. It's a sociopathy that also contains a lot of narcissism. Yep, exactly. A narcissistic epidemic. Yep, so you know the terminology. Yeah, it's just like people just do things. It's like the Joker was saying, well, I'm like a dog chasing my tail. I just do things. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I caught it. It's like that almost. It's a sociopathy that seems to be plaguing a lot of people these days. I just don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. I care not to understand it. That's like you were saying in your home. You know, my home is my little castle. I got a whole shelf of collectibles right there. You know, I got my sneaker collection, my jersey collection. You know, I got this YouTube channel. I got my eBay store. At least I got things to keep me busy. But after that, once I step outside this door right here, game over. Yep. Yep, this is, I agree. You know, your home is where your heart is. You know, it's a sanctuary. It has to be a sanctuary. Because like I said, once I step outside the door, even though the image is reversed here on this live stream, once I step out this door on my right side here, you know, you're pretty much looking over your shoulder all the time. It's really awful to think like that. What time is it? Almost 6 o'clock already. Holy cow, man. I hope I'm able to make it. I hope that caffeine and that Red Bull kicks in soon because, yikes, I fell asleep like around, 9 o'clock last night? Went to sleep real early last night. And then jumped out of my sleep like around 2 o'clock. And I haven't been able to go back to sleep since. And it doesn't pay now because, like I said, my neighbor will probably be calling me in like an hour or two. For me, it's going on YouTube, not out my front door. Yeah, YouTube, you know, like I save the live streams for me just to vent, you know, and to get to know my audience because, you know, outside the hobby space, you know, people got personal lives and they got problems. And sometimes, you know, it kind of helps to relate to your audience, you know, when they're going through divorce or heartbreak or death or any of that kind of stuff. You know, you find solace in that, to know that you're not the only one going through stuff. You know, but for me, it's just been this endless gauntlet since last year. It's just non-stop. One thing after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. So, well, I mean, this year has not been anywhere near as bad as it was last year. But still, there have been a couple things that went down. Like I said, I got cheated on twice this year for a total of 3 times now. It's awful. It's a sociopathy that exists now. Yeah, people just run around aimlessly like chickens with no head. When you butcher a chicken, what's the first thing you do? You cut its head off and the body starts bouncing around all over the place. That's what it's like. That's what it's like outside these days. Everybody's just running around, doing whatever they want. It's complete chaos and anarchy. It's not for me. Yeah, I don't date. It's way too rough out in the dating scene. Oh, yeah, these days, forget about it. You have the relatability in people, I think, is what's... I think the inability for people to actually relate to each other is what's being lost, thanks to social media, politics, and everything else. I tell people I don't have time for it. Most don't bring anything to the table. You know, I still have high hopes that one day somebody will cross my path and not put me through all this mess. Because the first thing, like I said, you know, with this girl, again, it's like, you know, I'm on a fixed income, and that's because of me being at that. And I don't really get into it too much like I used to. You know, I volunteered at the Trade Center when I was 24 years old in New York, and that fucked me all up. I was only there for 5 days after it happened. You know, I'm officially retired from union construction, and you know, I fought long and hard in the courts. So I'm on a fixed income, which is why I started my little eBay business a couple of years ago. And I'm just like, I'm not made out of money. I mean, I've made some good money with this eBay business, but this summer's been a little rough because sales are down because of all this bullshit that's going on in the world, and people aren't spending disposable income. And if I'm not making money, I can get into trouble. That's why I'm lucky I even got these 2 orders this morning to fill out. So I don't want to dox my customers there, but at least I got two baseball card orders right here. It's not a lot of money, but it's something. You know what I mean? It's a gallon of milk. And to have to constantly drive her back and forth, and then she wants takeout, and she wants this special food and that special food, perfume, this, that, everything else. I'm like, Jesus, man. And then, like, the last day she was here what, last Monday or Tuesday? And she was acting funny and asking me all these questions, and I bought her this really sexy outfit. And she's like, you mind if I take this with me? I said, well, what are you going to use it for? I thought it was for you and me. That's so I can dress up for you next time I come over. I'm like, well, I'll leave it here then and change when you're here. It doesn't make sense. And foolish, stupid me let her take it anyway. And then that's when I found out she was seeing another guy. And that's what the live stream was that I did the other day here on the channel. I just don't get what has gotten into people these days. And I talked about that in that live stream. I mean, this isn't the same Optimus Prime I had in that live stream, but it's like, for such a simple object like this, why can't things just be... I know in the good book in the Bible, Lucifer tempted Jesus to jump off a cliff. And Jesus made the climb up the mountain, and Satan was waiting for him, saying, why don't you throw yourself off the cliff? Thou shalt not tempt thy Lord thy God, I believe is what Christ said in the good book. In other words, why should life be that easy? You know what I mean? I look at this Transformers toy, and it's like, why can't life be like this? Why can't it be easy like this? You know what I mean? But this is the way of the world these days. This is the way of the world. This is how it is now. I wish it wasn't, but it is. But somehow, I'm still making a few dollars here, a few dollars there. Thank God I got plenty of food in my refrigerator. The lights are on. My electric bill just processed today. All my other bills I paid last week. God bless me with I took out a bank loan just to get ahead on stuff, which is good, which will help my credit even more because my credit is crap. But until my rent check comes and all that stuff, I'm good to go for a while. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. And I've planned and prepared for these sort of things. And that's the problem is that, if you're somebody like me who's very pragmatic and straightforward and has a plan for stuff, there's always somebody that wants to throw a wrench into gears. There's a time for work and a time for play. When I have disposable income, all right, I don't mind. Let's go out. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go to the mall. Let's have a picnic. I took her on 3 big picnics. I cooked all the food, did all the driving, did all the setup. Bought her fucking clothes, swimsuit. Bought her perfume. Bought her all of her special seasonings and her special coffee. I don't drink coffee. That's my source of caffeine, the Red Bull. And this is, again, what I get in return. It's unfortunate because I'm used to being such a friendly guy with people. I try to get along with everybody, but I've become more and more cynical over the years as a result. And I wish it wasn't like that. It's become harder and harder for me to trust anybody anymore. Especially, again, now that this happened to me, it just makes me not trust people that much more. Awful. And I wish it wasn't. Yeah, I know. I know. You know, I'm not used to being an isolationist that way. Frankly, I have no choice because it's only getting worse and worse as time goes on. You know, obviously, and this is not to criticize the people around here where I live, but I mean, you look at me, I'm pretty flashy with the clothes and the sneakers and all that kind of stuff, and people probably get the wrong impression that I'm made out of money, and it puts a bullseye on my back. This is just who I am. I love sports gear. I love good sneakers. You know, I work hard for it. I earn it, and I buy the stuff. This channel's not sponsored. It's not monetized. Whatever I get from um, my regular income and my eBay store, that's all I got. you know, and I think it gives the wrong impression that I'm just an easy target for people to come after. It sucks. Really sucks. And I'm one of the most simplest guys you can ever run into. I'm very simple. I watch my soccer games. I watch baseball sometimes. I'm a New York Giants fan, so I watch the Giants every Sunday or whenever they play. I got my hobbies like collecting Transformers and stuff like that. But again, I don't go out to bars. I stay home. Most women complain, "Oh, where are you going? Where are you going? You're going to the bar. You're hanging out with your friends." I'm like, I stay home. And meanwhile, every woman I've been with, they want to go out and show off and yell and scream and shout. And it's like, I'm just not into that stuff no more. That was back in my 20s and 30s. I'm now almost 50. I'm done with that kind of stuff, man. If we can't spend quality time together and go take nature walks and stuff, sit on the patio, enjoy the weather, cook together, watch TV together, then what's the point? What the hell's the point? I don't want to yell and scream and shout unless we're going to a party together for our families or something like that. Or we're going to go out and watch a game together. I'm very, very OG that way. So, in other words, the nice guy. Now you could take the dogs out for a couple days. Yeah, this weather's been very oppressive. You can tell because when the kids aren't outside running around, something's wrong. It is just too hot out there. It's way too hot out there. And now with the pool being closed like it is, it just makes things worse. You do see people walking outside and exercising and all that, but when you don't see the kids play, that's a sign of the times, unfortunately. Well, the kids around here, they're still having their little kitty civil war with each other. Apparently, one of the kids got caught with a vape, and then they started pointing fingers at each other as to who gave it to the other kid and who did this and who did that. So a lot of them don't play with each other no more. I used to buy big boxes of potato chips and snacks for the kids. I don't do it anymore. I stopped that because, one, people took me for granted. Two, every time I have my cooler of beer outside, especially at the pool, the have-nots would come up to me and they never reciprocate, and I got sick and tired of that. Again, I'm not going to really discuss what happened on the 4th of July. Suffice it to say, one jackass ruined it for everybody. I don't give out snacks to the kids no more. I don't do any of that stuff because it's not appreciated by certain people, and then they expect it. I mean, yeah, I've made friends with a lot of my neighbors because of that. Through being nice to the kids here, but it's just unfortunately people take you for granted after a while, and they expect you to constantly give and give and give, and you get nothing in return. All I want is just good company and respect. That's it, man. Good company and respect. And dignity and decency. That's it. Doesn't even have to be anything tangible or physical. Just be nice, be cordial, be friendly, be down. You know what I mean? But that's too much to ask for these days. You know, and I've stopped associating with certain people around here anymore because unfortunately wherever certain people go there's always trouble, and I don't want to be around that no more. I try to make sure that I'm seen by certain people because I don't need bullshit around me anymore. You know, if I like to sit on my patio and have a couple beers, I'll tailgate and back. I have a special spot that I go to if I feel like tailgating, you know, in back of my car. I'll bring the portable fans, but it's just too hot to even do that. You know what I mean? I'll sit with my neighbors and stuff, but even sitting on their patios, they got fans like I got, but it's too hot, man. Everybody's hibernating, you know, so. But it's that sociopathic behavior I don't want to be around anymore. Like yesterday, I found myself sitting with a couple neighbors, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he was the guy I pulled out a less lethal on who picked up a kitchen knife to one of my neighbors. And I offered to make peace with him, and he refused me, so fuck him. I'm not going to stop living my life. It changes nothing. He did the wrong thing. I did what I felt was right. He gave me an attitude yesterday. I said, oh, fuck him. I'll be friends with the other two guys. I'll just pretend he's not even there. And unfortunately, that's how it is. Bad people think they're right, and they're not. You know, I'm starting to see blue in the sky. It just turned 6 o'clock. Well, I'm going to sign off. I appreciate the new viewers, everybody. If you're new to the channel, again, thank you very much. You know, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, all that good YouTube stuff. And check out my eBay store and my coffee link if you want to donate. The links are in the description box below. I'll see what happens if I'm in any mood to do any reviews on the channel sooner than later. I still have a whole backlog of stuff. I've showed it off. I got He-Man figures, Transformers toys, a mini Voltron to review, Star Trek stuff I've been wanting to review, you know, sports talk, all that kind of stuff. Somewhere down the line I'll get to it, but baby steps for now. I'm still trying to get over what just happened last week. I really don't even want to think about it. It's going to make me sick. That's probably why I couldn't sleep last night. So take care. God bless. Stay safe, folks. And I'll see you all very soon. And welcome back, you know, next time I live stream. So take care, everybody.